there, fellow YouTubers, or whatever. Alright, this is myself, obviously. It's Chaos. And this video slash series of videos will be used in direct conjunction with a guide I'm working on. Now, for anyone who may have read it, I was calling it the Rules of Empire Total War. But I realized the way I had it formatted and stuff, it wasn't gonna work. Empire, as it is with most RTS games, is an extremely integrated thing, and you can break some things down one by one, but I didn't have nearly enough background information, and I realized that the stuff I was explaining was way too advanced for most people. I forgot how bad the ETW community was. I'll just say that. Alright, so I've started playing again. I've taken like a 4 or 5 month vacation, and yeah, so I'm gonna just... So here's your map choices, right? Now most of the guide will be based on 1v1 grassy flatlands, because this is the most balanced map set, and this is what I've learned to play really, really well. So, as soon as I load into the game. So this video particularly is going to just be, I'm going to be focusing on build and the theories on the armies and the kind of armies you want to pick. Now, I didn't really quite cover this. In the first part I had written, it was all about Light Dragoons, so I just went through all the factions that had Light Dragoons and whatnot, and pretty much said you have to use them. But I'm going to take a different approach. I mean, you still have to use Light Dragoons if you want to do really well in a 1v1 Grassy Flatlands game. But I'm going to explain the theory behind the whole entire army making process. So there's a thing called the 666 rule. Now I'm going to type in the chat 666. Okay? What this means is that the basis of most armies will revolve around this. You have 6 line infantry, as seen here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 light dragoons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? 6 rifles. Now obviously this is not a full army. What you also add in, with Prussia at least, in this particular situation, is 2 militia. Now, this is an extremely balanced army for grassy flatlands, and as people get better, they start customizing this. So they'll toss out a line infantry or toss out a rifle and add in a goon or whatever, add in some more rifles if the rules allow for it. But whatever the case is, in a 1v1 grassy flatlands, or any army that you make for grassy flatlands or most maps, this is your basic unit composition: 6, 6, and 6. Why is this? Simply really because it works. I mean, I'm gonna just go through some of the other builds and you guys will see my preset list. So I have a lot of presets, some of them better than others. So right here you can see I have quite a few US builds. I have a few UP builds. I have a very experimental army that a really good player used to use, and then I have a whole whack of Prussian builds. Why do I like? Now, a lot of this comes down to a personal choice. I like Prussia because I'm a very skirmish cav heavy person. So my 2v2 army, which is probably my favorite army, one of my favorite armies, is really rifle heavy with a strong line contingent and a weaker goon contingent, and then I have 50 funds left over. Now I'm going to get into why I have a weaker goon contingent in a 2v2 army than I would in a 1v1 army. So a 1v1 army that I really enjoy using is this. I have 7 light dragoons, I have 6 riflemen, 5 line infantry, and 2 militia. So it's pretty obvious. All I did is I just took out a line infantry and I threw in another light dragoon. Extremely flexible, and you can really customize it to how you want to play. Now, so I really don't know how to say why it works particularly. I mean, as I said in my goon thing, their melee cav is really weak, and I don't use it very often, although I do have a few armies where I really like to take advantage of it. So one of them is this army right here, I believe. So as you can see, I have 2 melee cav at the end, and even then I still have 6 goons. And all I did is I took more line out, and I took out another militia, and then I put in more cav. It's extremely based on how you feel, how you like to play. I mean, for an example of a line heavy build, so a line heavy build with the Americans is something like this. I have 3 line infantry, 2 Minutemen, 4 more line infantry, I have my 5 goons, and I have 5 rifles. And then, of course, I have 0 funds. But this is an example of a line heavy build. I mean, it's not the greatest army in the world because I just made it because I wanted to do a line span with America, and I kind of liked it because it hit 0 funds and it had 20 units. So I'm just gonna take a random faction and I'm just gonna like go through the basic builds or whatever. So a faction I don't use very often is, let's go with Poland, Lithuania. Now Poland is a very interesting faction because everything they have is cheap. It doesn't cost very much. Now there's a few things I'm gonna rule out right away, like, so here's the rule set. No artillery, right? Max 5, or let's say 6, light infantry. Okay, so this is the guidelines I have to work within. No artillery, max 6 light infantry. And a light infantry is something that has 90 or 125 range. So riflemen, light infantry, pioneer militia, whatever the faction is, 90 range or more, it's light, and it's an infantry based unit. It is considered light infantry. And as you can see in the brackets beside the name of rifleman, it also says light infantry. So by this rule set, all of the artillery things here are completely ruled out. Alright? And now I'm just going to quickly eliminate some other units based on personal experience and things that I know don't work. So starting here, I'm going to say I don't want any light infantry. They don't have the range I want, and you have to be hyper aggressive with them, and I find that their risk to reward management isn't quite what I like, isn't quite comfortable enough for me as a player. So I am not going to bring any light infantry. I am going to also rule out grenadiers. Grenadiers have 60 people, which is the same as a rifleman, 70 range, so it's the same range as a line infantry, but they can throw grenades and they have really high melee stats. I'm going to rule these out because, firstly, they don't have enough men to be effective in melee combat, and to throw grenades, I'm going to have to walk into my opponent's line of fire, where he can simply pull back and avoid the grenades anyway. And then that's not even counting the fact that they platoon fire, and I'm not going to get into that in this video. But for the reasons I mentioned, grenadiers are out. I am not going to bring them, so X through there as well. And then I'm going to be bringing line infantry. And I'm also going to rule out guard grenadiers. Now, they cost 110 more than their counterpart, and they have higher melee stats and whatnot, but they still have the same shortcomings, so for that reason, I'm still not going to bring them. And then, I'm not going to bring any guards. Actually, I might. I don't know. We'll see as I build the army. So let's hit this. So my cav. Now, this depends. Do I want a really traditional army? And by traditional, do I want a 6-6-6 kind of setup where I have 6 light dragoons? Or do I want to be kind of creative and I want melee cav? Now, for this, I'm going to, shits and gigs, I'm going to say I want melee cav, okay? So, a general, this is debatable. Now, Poland has very cheap units, so I don't think I'll need to actually buy a general to fill up a slot. But we'll keep this open. Hussars, it's possible. And I'm not going to be bringing Regiment of Horse. Why? Because they're slow. And Hussars tend to do the same things, but they do it better. I mean, they have lower morale, and they have lower defense, but they're faster. And for what light cav are used for, Hussars do it beautifully. Now, I consider Regiment of Horse light cav, even though the brackets doesn't say it, because, they really can't stand up to any guard cav. Uhlans, it's possible. I like Lancer cav once in a while. I mean, you can get really good charges, but I think my favorite Lancer cav is definitely the Bosniak. It's a very light, fast unit that has excellent impact. So, this is extremely iffy. This is kind of like a general. I don't know if I'm going to bring this. Light Dragoons, this is probably a must-have. I'm probably going to have at least 2 or 3 of these guys in my army. I'm not going to have any normal Dragoons. Now, the reason is because for them to actually shoot their guns, they have to be dismounted. This is extremely bad. That's why they're completely avoided, and they also cost more than the normal light dragoons. But this is, and they have the same morale in attack and melee defense. So I honestly, I'm not sure why they cost more, because they really aren't any more effective than light dragoons. Then Household Cav, probably not going to bring any. I mean, I might if it's a fun dependent situation, but I think I'm going to go with the Wing 2-star. I love the Wing 2-star. Not because it's a great unit or anything, but just because I love the Wing 2-star. End of story. So let's get to building the army. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take 2 Wing 2-stars. Now, this is just a start, right? They're probably not going to actually be my general unit, but I want them. And then I'm going to have, let's say, 2 more light dragoons. Alright, so I have 4 cav right now. And let's say 1, 2, 3 hussars. Yeah, that looks alright. And then I'm going to have a basis of 6 riflemen. Okay? So this is a max light 6 light infantry. I am going to max out my light infantry for the moment. Now, I feel I kind of have my cav force here, and my rifle force. And then, let's just kind of see. Can I max it out? I cannot. So, right now I can't have 20 units, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to throw in 2 militias. Alright, I have 70 funds left over. So, is there any way I can improve on this army whatsoever? Well, I can take out a militia, take out a Wing 2-star, throw in a goon, and I have 900 funds. Anything I can do with 900 funds, I can take out another hussar and throw another light goon, and then I have 780, and then I can throw another line infantry. Now, why am I doing this is because what I'm doing is I'm slowly taking out units that I think are kind of risky, and then I'm throwing in units that I know are safe. So light dragoons are always a safe bet, if you have an idea of how to use them. I mean, if you're completely new and you just like blob charge them into something, they're gonna fucking die and fail. But hopefully, through the course of this, we'll get everyone out of that habit. So, let's quickly go through this. We have 4 goons, 2 hussars, 1 Wing 2-star. But I want 2 Wing 2-stars. Can I do anything about this? So, let's take out another hussar. Let's throw in a militia. And I am at 910 funds. Shitty. Now, I don't want any more militia, but I don't... See, this is the big problem I have with Poland. I can't ever get my 2 Wing 2-stars and get an army I like. Here, let's go 3, 2, and I'm 50 funds short. Son of a... Alright, then, fuck. Ah, shit. What can I replace? I can take out a militia, throw in a general's bodyguard, and then I'll have 50 funds. That could work. Here, I'm gonna start this over. So let's go with my 1 general, my 2 Wing 2-stars. Well, 2, not 3. My 3, I think I had 3 goons. 2 of these guys. My 6 rifles, because I know I had 6 rifles, right? 1 militia, and the rest I think should be line infantry. Alright, so I have a very high risk army. So right here what I have is I have 5 line infantry and a militia, the 6 rifles, and then I have my goon, and then I have my cat force. Now, I think I might actually just do a battle against someone, and then I will show you guys this army in action and how I would go about using it. I'm not quite sure how this will work with the guide or whatnot, but if it doesn't work, you'll never see it, right? So, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you when I have a battle. There everyone, this is Chaos, and I found an army. Actually, if I'm resuming this, fuck, what did I introduce? Anyway, I found an opponent for the army I made, so I'm going to go about using it. Now, I'm not going to get too in-depth on the formation setups, but basically just know this: rifles are my first lineup, or my first line, right? Okay, then I'm going to have my line infantry, like this. Militia in the middle, and then I'm gonna have 2 more line over here, so these are my second line, and then my cav deployment will change, but I'm gonna have it like this for starters. So I'm gonna have 2 here, 2 here, Wing 2-stars in the middle. Now I'm playing 409 Smoke. I have no idea if he's any good, but this is just to show you guys how I go about using this army. And I'm fully aware that I said that I'm going to be ranting about how powerful goons are, and I'm going ahead and bringing only like 3. But this is because if I lose this, it's going to be really embarrassing. But basically, it's for the most part because I'm just better than most people to the point where I don't need them. As egotistical and arrogant as that sounds, and he spammed rifles. No, he didn't. Alright then. So we have a militia, 6 rifles, then he's gonna have 6 lines, 6 goons. Alright. So he did exactly the 666 rule. 6 goons, 6 lines, 6 rifles, and then he's gonna have his 2 other units, a general's bodyguard and a militia infantry. Now I'm not gonna get into bullet soaking and whatnot, which is the purpose of the militia. But let's just suffice to say that what bullet soaking is you just run your guy forward, your militia, have your opponent's rifleman shoot it, and then you follow, and while you're running up your militia and it's taking all the fire, you're following up with your rifles, so your rifles can get the first volley on his rifleman, and then you have an immediate advantage in the light infantry fight. Now, obviously, I don't want to play by his rules, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be flank rushing. That's why I massed all this cav on the one flank, because I need to get momentum on my side. I need to kill his goons before he can do damage to me. And then I need to make these goons irrelevant by just avoiding them and making sure they can't touch me. Kind of like the NC Hammer song. So he's running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, alright, and they're all in the middle. And then as you can see, my whole entire army is just shifting to the flank. Now I'm using group formation because then I can just basically move my army quickly, like without having to do multiple orders. This is personal preference. Some people don't like group formation. I find it has its advantages and disadvantages because sometimes it just doesn't work. So you have to be ready for it to like glitch up on you. Anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm flanking with my light dragoons because I want to be able to get full firepower while he is still trying to turn his guys. And then I'm going to be following in with my hussars immediately after I shoot. Or after he shoots, at least. Now, this is kind of a dangerous situation he's in right now. On that flank, at least. Alright, I need to move my goons in now. Take my cab over here. Then wrap up with these guys. So my goons did shoot, nice. Although I think I shot my own. No, not quite. Could have been a lot worse. And I need to keep an eye on this flank, make sure his goons don't actually get a chance to do a whole bunch of damage to me. So my hussar was a pretty cheap unit, so the actual main reason I used it like that is as a bullet soak. And then that line infantry is actually riding from the rifle damage it got. Nice. It's wavering at least. It's not riding. So in goes my other one. And then... So he's shooting at my hussars and whatnot. I'm totally okay with that. Because I'm going to run in with my goons and shoot at him. And then as you can see, my hussars actually won this fight. They didn't win this one because I shot them in the back, but they did win they were kind of winning the other one. So, shot him there. Let's move in. And melee charge here. Kind of taking a while for the orders to start going. But he shot his goons in the back with his rifles there. That's a really bad thing that you don't want to do. Now, did he turn his line around here? He didn't. Perfect. I can charge his rifles. So I've obliterated his goon force on this flank, and I've lost 2 hussars doing it. I am okay with this, personally. Hussars are an extremely cheap unit, and goons are extremely effective. Okay, pull through, please. Alright, so I've killed one of his riflemen on this flank as well, so now I have a light infantry advantage. And I'm about to have a line of, and I'm about to even up the line when I kill this one. Alright, and as you can see, he is not being aggressive on this flank. This is a massive mistake on his part. He needs to be pushing this flank because I have no cav over here. And as you guys noticed, I haven't used my Wing 2 Stars yet because they are an extremely expensive unit, and I don't want to waste that by screwing up. So my initial rush went pretty much as well as I could have asked. It pretty much went exactly how I kind of wanted it. I still have all 3 of my goons, which is really good because he also has all 3 of his. Well, he still has 3 more of his. So, I mean, I'm slightly outnumbered, but it's not to the point where it's not 2 to 1 anymore, which is an extremely good thing for me. So I'm gonna continue pulling back on this flank as soon as my cav starts running, because I do not want to take a rifle fight on this flank. I don't even want to take a fight on this flank. I am strong on my other flank because I've just redded a whole bunch of his units. Now, obviously, I did take losses. I lost, I want to say about a third of my dragoons there, and I lost 2 hussars. But he lost 1 rifleman, 1 line infantry, and 3 light dragoons. So, I mean, you guys can decide if that was a good trade or not. I think it was alright, but I don't actually know everything, unfortunately. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just keep pushing this one flank, and you guys will see an example of bullet soaking really soon as I advance and try and get into a rifle engagement. I have the jitters. Now, he's made a mistake. He has all of these line infantry and stuff at the really far back, so if I were to, well, it would be risky, but I could actually just, like, engage his rifles over here. I mean, it would take too long, and he would have time to react, but I could do it and have an initial advantage. But I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna keep pushing where I'm strong, and where he has no units at all. So he's, once again, flanking with his light goons. I'm just going to keep pulling back on the flank. And up goes my militia. So he bullet soaked me. That's alright. I don't mind. I don't really intend to stay here for very long. So as you can see, he shot at my militia. That's perfectly alright. I shot at his, unfortunately. Now his goons are on the wrong side of the map, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these 4 cav, and I am going to run down this flank. Now you're going to get to see some Wing 2 Star action. Or you should be able to. Assuming he doesn't like do something really, really mean to me and like move his goons so they're shooting at me. No, I screwed up. I moved 2 rifles back and I left those ones out there because I wasn't paying attention. That's a big mistake. Hopefully I don't pay for it too drastically. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to let my goons shoot first, and then I'm going to pull them back to the side. why am I doing this is because the big advantage to goons is their firepower, so you can just kind of use them for shooting at your opponent, pulling back, and then getting them out of harm's way. And my Wing Hussars are going to be going right through his line infantry. Beautiful. Well, not through his line infantry. They're gonna go right through his rifles. So that's actually kind of. Oh, he quit. All right. Well, good game to my opponent. Didn't get to see it all, but if I'm gonna kite, I was attacking, buddy. I was attacking. So, already, as you can see, I was starting to pull ahead. I had 400 kills, he had 200. Usually the first engagements for me are kind of the most devastating, especially for rushes. But yeah. And since my Hussars took so much damage right off the charge, they really didn't kill much. And this guy read it with half his units left. And then my rifles were doing alright. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you have a bit of a basic understanding of how to make armies. And then, obviously, as you get better, you'll develop your own personal style. And yeah, so I'll see you next time.